Meryl Streep, perhaps the most accomplished screen actor in history, delivered on Sunday night a speech so filled with comical errors, so riddled with glassy-eyed virtue signaling, so layered in endless, boundless waves of contempt for her own country and for basic reality itself, that this speech will no doubt join Benito Mussolini in the eternal Parthenon of pure propaganda masterpieces.
Gente che ignorava la scrittura con la quale tramandare i documenti della propria vita in un tempo in cui Roma aveva Cesare, Virgilio ed Augusto.
It was so filled with shit in so many different places that I almost considered leaving it alone. Because this speech itself is the very living embodiment of low-hanging fruit. Why bother critiquing that which is so obviously a self-propelling fart? But then I figured, what the hell? I'm in the mood for a good deconstruction. So let's break down Meryl's maudlin master speech.
I love you all.
Unlikely.
You'll have to forgive me. I've lost my voice in screaming and lamentation this weekend.
Oh, God, she hasn't even started her speech and already she's wounded.
And I have lost my mind sometime earlier this year, so...
Yes, that is correct. That part is true.
I have to read. Thank you, Hollywood Foreign Press.
That's not a real thing.
Just to pick up on what Hugh Laurie said, you and all of us in this room really belong to the most vilified segments in American society right now. Think about it. Hollywood, foreigners, and the press.
And right here, we're going to get to the very crux of her madness. What an incredibly pompous and, above all, incorrect thing to say. Hollywood and foreigners are nowhere near the most vilified segments of our society. Not even close. Maybe the press is currently taking its lumps, and rightfully so, for its incredibly biased and mediocre reporting on any number of subjects. But that's a natural reaction from a populace that no longer feels that the corporate-owned media is looking out for its interests anymore. I mean, my God, the notion that these people who make tens of millions of dollars to run from green screens and wear prosthetic noses are somehow this persecuted class in society, that we should somehow feel sorry for them, that they're somehow these heroic intellectual martyrs, and not the self-indulgent, overly pampered narcissists that we see on the stage before us right here.
But who are we? And you know, what is Hollywood anyway? It's just a bunch of people from other places. I was born and raised and educated in the public schools of New Jersey. Viola was born in a sharecropper's cabin in South Carolina, came up in Central Falls, Rhode Island. Sarah Paulson was born in Florida, raised by a single mom in Brooklyn. Sarah Jessica Parker was one of 7 or 8 kids from Ohio.
Yes, we're all from different states in America. We all went to school and had some kind of shelter. My God, what the hell is going on?
Amy Adams was born in Vicenza, Veneto, Italy. And Natalie Portman was born in Jerusalem. Where are their birth certificates? And the beautiful Ruth Negga was born in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, raised in Ireland, I do believe. And she's here nominated for playing a small-town girl from Virginia. Ryan Gosling, like all the nicest people, is Canadian. And Dev Patel was born in Kenya, raised in London, and is here for playing an Indian raised in Tasmania.
My God, what a remarkable historic achievement.
So Hollywood is crawling with outsiders and foreigners. And if we kick them all out, you'll have nothing to watch but football and mixed martial arts, which are not the arts.
There it is. There it is. Every single person in Hollywood is from another country, and every other country on earth is great. And America is a terrible place, and football is a terrible sport, and mixed martial art is not an art at all. It's a piece of garbage activity, and that's all we are. A stupid, stupid country that is unable to do anything without magical foreigners. Look at this. Look at the audacity of this crowd making millions of dollars to do essentially a superfluous activity. And they're all cheering that America is this terrible, bad place while they're in this huge event in $1 million dresses and drinking $10,000 champagne. They're like, yes, America is bad. I mean, what kind of super level farce is this? In all my life, I've never heard anyone who's been given so much from her country, who has so much wealth and privilege, turn around and literally take a shit on her country and the people of her country. It is beyond contemptuous. And I think that that's a point that a lot in the media have missed. She essentially said America is nothing but a gathering of drooling retards who are incapable of any depth. And thus, without Hollywood and magical foreigners, American culture would dry up and cease to exist. We would be reduced to living in caves, watching and arguing about football and MMA.
They gave me 3 seconds to say this, so. An actor's only job is to enter the lives of people who are different from us and let you feel what that feels like.
And that's great, and that's wonderful, and that's why so many people go to the movies, and you are so incredibly well paid. But for you to work 4 months of the year and then get on stage and have the audacity to lecture and mock people who break their back to make $30,000 a year, whose very homes are worth less than the jewelry that you're wearing right now, is such a sickening display of blind egotism and pure elitism that she should honestly be ashamed of herself.
And there were many, many, many powerful performances this year that did exactly that. Breathtaking, compassionate work.
And yet, you hold no compassion for the everyday American. You mock their ability, you scorn their interests, you look down your nose at them.
But there was one performance this year that stunned me. It sank its hooks in my heart. Not because it was good. There was nothing good about it. But it was effective and it did its job. It made its intended audience laugh and show their teeth.
Show their teeth. There it goes again. Once again, these are a bad people. It doesn't matter what's gone on in their life, what's gone on to them economically or socially. They are bad. And they are a bad people, and the Hollywood millionaires are a good people. I mean, is this the most mindless performance by a human being in history? I have never seen the like. First of all, if Trump did mock someone who is disabled and did mock their disability, that isn't good. However, there is tape of him at least 6 or 7 different events doing the exact same body language and voice to mock people who weren't disabled.
They said to him, "What do you think about ISIS?" "Oh, ISIS is very tough."
They said, "Senator Cruz, what do you think of waterboarding?" "Oh, I don't want to talk about it." You know, he didn't want to talk about waterboarding.
When you see the president of the bank, I mentioned the word regulated.
Somebody said you have to go away for 2 weeks. You're going to Africa on a safari. There's not going to be any phones. You know what? You get me out of here, right?
So the idea that this was an isolated incident doesn't seem to be bared out with the facts. However, if it is true, it isn't good. It is bad, unquestionably. But to act like this reporter, who is a reporter for the New York Times, the #1 paper in America, is somehow weak, to imply that they are somehow unable to defend themselves is ridiculous. The only person who's implying that this person is weak is you, because you see a disability as a weakness. I see generally a successful reporter for a top newspaper who happens to have a mild disability, but it doesn't seem to affect his mind. And certainly with the level platform of the New York Times, he has an ample opportunity to defend himself against any attacks.
It was that moment when the person asking to sit in the most respected seat in our country imitated a disabled reporter, someone he outranked in privilege, power, and the capacity to fight back.
I bowled a 129. Oh no, that's very good. Yeah. Oh, that's very good, Mr. President. This is like Special Olympics or something. No, that's very good.
It kind of broke my heart when I saw it, and I still can't get it out of my head because it wasn't in a movie. It was real life. And this instinct to humiliate, when it's modeled by someone in the public platform, by someone powerful, it filters down into everybody's life because it kind of gives permission for other people to do the same thing.
I suppose she's referring to the supposed wave of hate crimes that followed Trump's election, a substantial portion of which have been proven to be false, outright false, hoaxes. People were making them up. Again, she's not interested in statistical fact. She is interested in her vague emotional narrative. She's interested in portraying herself as this martyred hero, standing up for this pretend cause.
Disrespect invites disrespect. Violence incites violence. When the powerful use their position to bully others, we all lose.
Wow, look at the emotion on Carrie's face. She's so... Oh, okay. That's fine.
We need the principled press to hold power to account, to call them on the carpet. Every outrage.
I hate to break it to you, Meryl, but the principled press died with Edward R. Murrow. What we have today is a corporatist media that sells gotcha narratives and does its level best to protect the powerful at all costs.
That's why our founders enshrined the press and its freedoms in our Constitution. So I only ask the famously well-heeled Hollywood foreign press and all of us in our community to join me in supporting the Committee to Protect Journalists, because we're going to need them going forward, and they'll need us to safeguard the truth.
Oh my God. The press is going to need good guy Hollywood millionaires to protect them because apparently the American people don't want journalists anymore, but Hollywood millionaires do. Holy motherfucking shit. Kill me now. Again, here she's inventing a straw man, as if the American people don't want a free press. And Donald Trump doesn't want a free press. But Hollywood millionaires do want a free press because Hollywood millionaires are heroic. And the everyday person in America hates the free press. They just hate them. And she is so brave, and let's cut away to actors with 85 IQs. Again, I support the Committee to Protect Journalists. Everybody does. The reason that American people are upset with journalists is because they are owned by corporations and they serve corporate interests and they push particular narratives. It's not journalism in general that people hate. It's the particular kind of corporate journalism that we're getting now. That's not fair, and people have a right to complain about that. But she thinks that the American people don't like journalists, that they don't like journalism, but Hollywood millionaires do like journalism. They're good guys, and Americans don't want journalism, and Trump doesn't want them, but she does, and she's good. Holy fucking shit.
One more thing. Once, when I was standing on the set one day, whining about something, we were going to work through supper or the long hours.
Why am I not surprised? I mean, she's getting $5 million per movie. And she's complaining about having to read lines over dinner. You have a billion people on Earth who can't get clean water, but Meryl Streep is upset that she has to read lines on a fake set during mealtime.
I have such doubts.
Tommy Lee Jones said to me, "Isn't it such a privilege, Meryl, just to be an actor?" Yeah, it is, and we have to remind each other of the privilege and the responsibility of the act of empathy.
There you have it, the act of empathy. You know, again, she took a shit on America, she took a shit on football and MMA and said that's all we are, a country of 340 million people. A country of Orson Welles and Hemingway and F. Scott Fitzgerald is nothing but football and MMA. That's all we are. And yet she's lecturing us on empathy after showing less empathy for her fellow man than anybody I've ever seen in Hollywood, and that is saying something.
We should all be very proud of the work Hollywood honors here tonight. As my friend, the dear departed Princess Leia, said to me once, "Take your broken heart, make it into art." Thank you for it.
You know, I don't really know what to say. I mean, the speech speaks for itself. She could criticize Trump, criticize his personality, criticize his policies, but she didn't have to go after everyday Americans, their sensibilities and who they are, and she did. She went after them, and she went after them hard and dismissed them at their very core. She's lived in this country. She's profited greatly. She's had a wonderful life. And yet she gets on stage and literally accuses, essentially, the American people of being garbage and for not supporting free press. Rather, these people are just complaining about the bias in the media. They're complaining about the corporate-run media pushing a corporate agenda, which is harmful to wages and the environment, and people are complaining about that. She doesn't understand that. That's a layer and level of depth by which she just simply doesn't understand. So, I mean, again, I don't know what to say, but I mean, I think this speech perfectly encapsulates exactly what Hollywood and elitists think of everyday Americans. They are so incredibly out of touch and so incredibly contemptuous of just a person trying to function in this difficult world. They live in such an incredible sort of fairy tale Narnia bubble that it's embarrassing. I mean, that was such an embarrassing moment for an elderly woman who probably should be put out to pasture.